Good morning, evening, afternoon. Masati here. Welcome back, guys. Welcome to Masati on Sunday, where we talk about the core reason on why things happen the way they do, not the surface level reason, the core reason. And that's where, well, society gets it wrong. It's not like you're doing anything wrong, but what you're doing is you're trying to fix the surface level problem and not the core level problem. And that's why people have the same issues over and over and over again, right? Whether it's political systems, whether it is personal systems, we keep repeating the same patterns. We keep repeating, dating the same individuals. We keep having the same money issues. We keep having the same diseases over and over and over again. So on Masadi on Sunday, we go to the cause, the frequency level behind the issues. And today we're going to continue on with how XI actually got started on this. This is week 2, why emotional intelligence isn't enough. All right, so just to recap, and by the way, please like this channel. Thanks for, it's growing really nice. So please continue to like the channel, subscribe to it, tell your friends, especially those that you don't like, to subscribe to it so they can shape up a bit. All right, all righty, or help you get rid of them. All right, anyway, uh, so uh, yeah, well, my internet, babe, you gotta log off. Yeah. Um, how's it going now? Can you guys turn off your internet connection? Yeah. Let me see. Sorry, guys, I'm not at my usual place, but there we go. How's that? Is that good now? Okay. All right. So again, guys, I do this live all over the world, so it's more important for me to do it live than have. Sometimes, we have some issues, but it should clean up. All right. If worst comes to worst, just turn the video off. It's fine now. Oh, thanks, guys. Alrighty. So November basically is the 11th month, XI, and for me, a lot of transformations happen physically, and also my abilities expand and continue as well. So this is a really transitionary time, not only for me but for the world. We just wrap up. How many of you out there, by the way, have transitioned quite a bit in November, right? Because we're cycling at some level the universal patterns, okay, which is really really nice. All right, so November, like I said, it's the 11th month. It's XI, so XI, the month of alignment, command, evolution. So, and this is why we're starting as well, command, grow rich and happy on 11th month, because everything, by the way, we have the second session tonight on command, grow rich and happy. How many of you are excited about that? It's it's going to be pretty amazing. It rewrites everything on how you see wealth. Um, all right. So, guys, can you just turn off all your internet connections? Okay, thanks. All right. So, I got my daughters here as well. I have a lovely group of women, well, two, actually, three, four, that are just listening in. So they're so cute. They're here. All right. So, um, back to what I was talking about. It's a 5-part series on how XI got started. Okay, mapping the real story behind it all, and this is where we go. From human success, from again human success. That's the key. Human success, which always collapses, if you've noticed that, and then we resurrect it again. And we resurrect it using old systems, and then it starts to collapse. It starts to collapse to a point that, well, eventually it has to fall, because we can't keep supporting distortions or lies. And this is what's happening in the world today. A lot of people, even the people that create systems, or like Elon Musk and Trump, and all the government political system, the deep state. They're going, well, what the fuck is going on? Because they are running human success. It's worked for us so far. That's the 3 levels of success, right? It's worked for us so far, but we need the 4th level to have clarity and coherence. So, and that's what we all go through, whether you're a country, whether you're a global system like the Earth, whether you're a personal system. The universe, the natural law of the universe run on cascading fractal laws. So what happens at one level happens at all levels. Okay, and I talk about that on my science channel, XI Science, on Substack. By the way, I'll be posting more and more articles on that. So this week, it is on the emotional phase, where the mind quiets, and this is where many of you are getting into it, once you've moved through the process, where the mind starts to quiet and then your emotions start to act up, right? And so I'll go through the process, my personal process on what I went through on that. Where once you start to settle in, right? Once you start to settle into your identity, right? Once that settle in, your emotions surge because your emotions don't understand what's happening. And I'll give you the details or the science on how emotions work in this case. And this also helps you understand how, we operate from guilt. We create success or love from guilt or fear or grief. Uh, and so let me give you an example. I've got two fantastic icons behind me here. Um, David Goggins. Okay. So highly successful in what he does, right? The Navy SEALs, highly successful in what they do. But here's the problem with that. Okay, they run off of pain. So what they do is like, if 1 pound of pain is going to get me, let's say if 2 pounds of pain is going to give me a pound of success, that's what they do, right? A pound of success, a pound of winning, a pound of whatever. It doesn't really matter. 2 units of pain will give me 1 unit of success. So David goes, gosh, you know what? I want to go to the next level, to the next level, to the next level. And what they do is they increase the pain. So if they want 5 units of success, that means that 10 units of pain has to come to balance it out, because that's what our mathematical, that's what our programming is now. It's just straight out math, guys. It's nothing woo-woo or anything like that. So now David, if you've seen go through his life, it's like, shit, man, I need more pain to sustain where I am. And this is where his followers come through, right? And if you've seen his videos, they're really, really fantastic. They motivate you, but underneath is like, yeah, more pain, more pain. So one person's pain is not enough. You have to have more pain and more pain and more pain. And if you don't believe me on that, look at how more followers, when people go to a certain level of fortune and fame, they'll suck followers in, they'll suck investors in to go, yeah, I need to perpetuate that pain. How many of you doubled down on something that didn't work in the first place, so you doubled down, right? It's like, shit, I'm going to try my ass. I'm going to try harder and harder, right? And really push and really do that hustle and grind. And, you got a little bit of success and it's like, shit, didn't work. And then what do? It's like, well, I'll double it. I'll triple it. I'll quadruple it, right? And then you get some results. It's like, oh, okay, then it worked. And then we have this concept that's like, oh, yep, that means that I quadrupled the pain. That means if I want more success, I would have to say quadruple it and even more. And this is where, again, society, and maybe your life has gone to, it doesn't work. Okay? This is where emotional work, feels like progress, but it starts to become an emotional treadmill. This is where many people, by the mid 30s, early 40s, they have a crisis, midlife crisis, because again, their success nowadays, there's a group of younger individuals who are creating success, because right now, back in the day, people was like, you got to work your ass off, you got to grind, and all the younger people are going, well, no, I just put some YouTube videos on, I'll hit 1 million views, and I make 100,000 a month. So the older wealth are going, well, what the fuck, they didn't do anything, right? They didn't do anything. And this is where they've got the money, the old type wealth, the new type wealth. They've got the money, but it's like, damn, why do I feel empty? Because they both did the same thing. So this is where, hard work, the grind, and again, that's really, really important. But how you go through the process, why you go through the process is very important for you. So emotional work, again, a lot of people who are, they I don't, they're like suicidal, or they're depressed, and they do the emotional work, okay, which is fine too. Or they take a break, or they change jobs, or spouses and all that, which is totally fine. Again, the body feels start to feel lighter, but the patterns underneath starts to stay the same, and that's the problem. You only change the surface level. You took a break from it. The underlying emotions come through. In XI, what I was going through is, and the one thing, last week I talked about how basically everything collapsed, right? Filed bankruptcy, lost everything, lost the house, the boat, all those things, all the niceties that we have. And a lot of people go through that as well. If you listen to anybody who made success, they go, yeah. But here's the difference, and that's what I was talking about earlier. In XI, you do go through the same process, okay, where things start to collapse, things that aren't real that start to collapse. And this is what I was talking about earlier, where a lot of great comments, by the way, on how your lives, have gone through. So, what we do, and this is how success works, right? And this is how those emotions, start to say bind you. By the way, what happens is that, oh, I failed, but then I made a hell of a lot of money. So you attach failure to success. Okay. And this is where, like, David Goggins and everybody else that's out there, Tony Robbins, all those fantastic individuals that go, X units of X units of failure will give me X units, Y units of success. Simple. Okay. So in today's society, we basically have to fail to create success, because that's what the system dictates now in human success. So in XI, it's different. You fail, but what you do is you do not attach how much failure you have compared to the success you have. You failed because you didn't use the right systems. And then in this case, since you didn't use the right systems, you trash it. And then you go, okay, what's a better system? So instead of referencing your again your old identities, your old habits, your old pains, to create success, what you do in XI is you let go of the past, and then you reference your potential of what you could be. And this is where like David Goggins, he doesn't have to abuse himself to get to where he wants. It's like, shit, I'm fantastic now. If I did this, expanded more, let go of more of my bullshit, the family values, the family pain, and that's for David, maybe for many of you as well. It's like, I can even be more of myself. Do you see the difference, guys? It's highly important. Do you see the difference? Okay. At some level, you can only hold on to so much pain before that pain will collapse you. You can only hold on to so much burdens before that pain collapses you. And this is where we get into emotions. Okay? So emotions, many people tell you that, you got to have, um, uh, you got to have, emotional intelligence, right? Well, or many people tell you that you have to follow your emotions. There's so many books, right? Follow your emotions, follow your heart, trust your heart. How many of you have done that, but then it didn't really work out for you, right? So why did it prove you wrong? Hey, look, you followed your heart and you got into an abusive relationship over and over and over again. You followed your intuition. You lost a lot of money in whatever your investments and all that, right? So why doesn't that work out? Okay, so here's the deal. There's an underlying program, okay, a frequency, not a mindset, a frequency that dictates that you run, say, a program. You get abused, you get whatever, you get abused, you get shortchanged, you make a lot of success, but it comes with a lot of burdens, right? All that. All right. Um, so what happens is, if this is the program, your emotions are just tools. They're just like radar. They literally find where you can fulfill the program that you are running. Simple. So your emotions are, it's not that your emotions are messed up, and this is what people do. They stay away from their emotions because it didn't get them to what they really wanted at a deeper level. Okay. So what happens is, you've got the program, the emotions are, say, the surface level Geiger counters, like, they're basically, it's like, hey, find me where I can get abused. And lo and behold, you'll those emotions will guide you into that abuse pattern, right? So there, it's like GPS. All right. So in XI, this is what happened to me, where the mind starts to quiet down, and then you start to observe the emotions that you're running. How many of you have gone through that in XI? It's like, wow, okay, I'm feeling this, this attraction towards this person, but at a logic level, it's like, I know that person is going to be abusive to me, right? Or, I feel the pull of this business endeavor, but God, the numbers, the logic, and all that, it's just not working for me. Why is it? So in this case, you start to reset your emotions for you. And this is where your emotions start to come into play. Okay. Uh, so just reading some of the comments here. Okay. So again, most individuals just follow their emotions. And then when their emotions they don't get them to where they want to go, they go, well, I'm not going to trust that emotion. How many of you have done that as well? It's like you fell in love, you got abused by it, and now it's like, well, you know what? I'm just going to be celibate, right? There's a big movement for that. Look at Japan. It's like they don't get married anymore. They marry themselves. They have wedding parties for themselves. That's how extreme are those emotions. And is it the emotions? No, no. I went to this tribute for Journey to the Heart, and there was a tribute band and the guy sounded exactly like Journey, and the woman sounded exactly like Heart, and and the guitar player, fucking amazing. And I'm going, God, you know what? If I played that guitar, I'd probably suck at it, and I know I would, just totals. And then I would go, God, this guitar sucks. What the hell is wrong with it? Really, right? That's what we do. It sounds funny, but look at the systems, the human systems that we've developed. Oh, our emotions suck. Oh, our bodies suck. Um, it's because we're not playing it right, right? We get the wrong foods into our body and go, I don't know why I'm so obese and my heart is, you know, uh, breaking down at 20 or 30, right? Nowadays, right? I don't know why I get arthritis. Well, maybe you're not preparing your body. Maybe you're not taking care of your body, right? Look at your emotions. Maybe you're not playing those emotions right, right? Could be. And that's the key. The guy up on the stage is like, holy hell, how does he do that? It sounded literally just like Heart. It's like, it's like amazing, right? So that's what I'm talking about. This is at a frequency level. You need to learn why the emotions are designed the way they are. Because if it didn't, then I'd go, this guitar sucks. They should have designed it another way. That's what today's human science does. It's like, yeah, this genome sucks, right? Or our DNA is 85% junk DNA. Let's redesign it. It's because we don't know how to play it. Simple. Let's take a breath in. All right. So in the beginning, we had, intelligence, right? The higher IQ, that we have, the more success we have, the more intelligent, the more we should listen to people with high IQ. But then through the years, we started to figure out, it's like, shit, the higher IQ, the more messed up that person is, right? There's a lot of individuals who have high IQ. We're all, kind of like on the spectrum, on autistic. I'm not saying any names, but look at Elon, again, fantastic guy, beautiful guy, but, at a personal level, it's kind of tough, right? So do we need more people like that? Do we need more, I don't know how many kids he's got, 14 kids or whatever. Do we need more people in that system? Look at today's society. So we decided, well, we need emotional IQ, right? Emotional intelligence, which became basically emotional management. That's what emotional intelligence is about. We didn't change the system. We just started to manage the system. Humans have a fantastic propensity to manage systems that are broken. They don't go into the system and go, God damn, that maybe we should learn how to use that system. No, we manage the brokenness of the system. So emotional intelligence became the key. The trap, though. The trap, it feels like you're healing, or you might say stay busy with what you're doing, but that's an illusion. It's like, well, I'm pretending high IQ, right? Politically correctness and so on like that. Oh, something happens, you get that initial tinge of your, say, real emotions, and they're not real, but they're dictated by your programming underneath, like I talked about. And then you go, oh, yeah, I shouldn't think that way or feel that way towards someone or towards that group. Let me rewrite it, and then I'll put that facade on, right? And talk, like a political face on. That's that's what's happened. Emotional IQ. It doesn't really work. It doesn't really work. It distorts you, and it becomes a really an illusion. Okay. All right. So, and here's another illusion that people have, where they say, if I feel it enough, I'll finally be free. Okay. So how many of you have done that? It's like you feel the sadness, the guilt, the fear, the shame, whatever happened to you back in the day or whatever that you're experiencing. And then you go, I'm just going to be happy. I'm going to go do yet another, spiritual journey, another ayahuasca journey, another whatever. And, if I just keep busy feeling this emotion and just pretending to be happy, or getting into those states that are happy, then I'll finally be free, and then hopefully it'll stick. How many of you have done that as well? I've gone through all this, by the way, guys. Okay. I've been there for you. That's why I can say it so precisely. You know what's so funny? On Masati on Sunday here, where a lot of people tell me, they're close friends, they go, yeah, I listened to the Masati on Sunday, and it feels like you were just talking directly to me, Mas. Yeah, because I've been there. Okay? It's not theory. I didn't learn it from the internet or ancient books. I've gone through the process, figured it out. Simple. How many of you think that way? Is like when I'm, on like events or even, Masati on Sunday, you go, God, that Moss is just talking directly to me, right? Yeah. Okay. Crazy, right? All right. Here's the deal. You can't ascend or transcend a frequency by like escaping it. You just can't do that. So we'll get into why emotional work, say, stops working. One, as a recap, emotions are signals, not an identity. Think of it that way. When you attach to the signal, the distortion deepens. It's like, oh, I'm just that happy person, and those people that wear the t-shirts, I'm free. And it's usually people who wear t-shirts that are like that, they're probably trying to say run away from what they are. So actually they're the opposite of the t-shirt that they're displaying. Okay. So that's what happens. So it's like, yeah, I feel this way. I'm just going to do the opposite. Here's the problem with opposites. Is, my parents were X. My parents were X. I'm going to do the opposite. My parents were super religious and it sucked being super religious. I'm the opposite. My parents weren't super religious. I'm going to do the opposite and be super religious. It doesn't really matter what you're doing at the surface level. The bottom layer is, it's two sides of the coin. It's the same coin. That's the problem. Okay. So emotional gravity pulls you back into old identities. Right? So this is where you start to see the emotions, you start to experience the emotions of the past. You pull away from it, right, by doing the opposite. Imagine, close your eyes, take a breath in. Take a breath in, close your eyes. We'll just do this experiment. Look at something that you've tried to change by basically running away from it. And imagine the source that you're running away from, whoever it is, whatever it is, and then you've got a rubber band, a bungee cord attached to you. And then you're running away, doing the opposite. So that band gets tighter and tighter and tighter, and eventually it doesn't stretch anymore. And that's where most people stop. It doesn't stretch anymore. So they get snapped back. That's what most people do. That's what most countries do. You can see the yo-yo of pretty much any country that's gone through their evolutionary process. It's the same thing. Whether again it's a political level, country level, or a cultural level, religious level, everything at a personal level. So you start calibrating to your past instead of your potential. You are always referencing your past pain to your future. It doesn't work that way, right? So emotional healing literally starts to become another form of control over you, where you try to get away from this by creating mechanisms to keep you further apart. So again, the more mechanisms you create to separate yourself from what you don't want to feel, what you don't want to experience, well, that starts to become a bind. That starts to become a jail sentence for you, right? Because it barricades you. All right. So here's the difference: emotional intelligence versus frequency intelligence. Take a breath in. I know many of you are starting to feel it. You know, maybe the burden's off your chest here. All right. So emotional intelligence basically equals managing states after they happen or after they arise. You feel something, I have to manage this state. I feel fear, I have to overcome it. Some people, God, what's that guy? The guy who was in the Nixon presidency, Getty, what's his name? Getty, something, no. Anyway, he was afraid of mice. Okay. So what he did was he lived in a farm. He was afraid of mice. He trapped the mice, fried it, ate it to overcome his fear. Weird shit, right? People do the craziest things, okay, to overcome or start to control their fears. For example, they feel a lot of pain. They overcome it. They feel. This is where I see a lot of people who are really adventurous, really outgoing, you know, and they go, God, you know, and I read them, it's like, oh, I feel, you know, you seem like you're really afraid. It's like, no, are you kidding me? I just jumped off a plane, you know, and all that. It's like, yeah, but why are you doing that? It's like, are you doing that to prove to yourself that you don't have this fear deep inside? And they go, yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's like, yeah, what about ayahuasca? Yeah, ayahuasca is a fantastic tool if used properly. Ayahuasca, DMT, all those. This is the problem. And next year, by the way, we're going to get into some solid plant medicine journeys for those people who want to really do it properly. Okay. Again, they're really fantastic tools, but just like the guitar, you know, if you don't know how to use it right, ayahuasca is a fantastic tool to clean up, but most people don't know how to use it right, and they just keep cycling. And that ayahuasca is so intelligent, it just literally buries you. And you'll see that more and more of that stuff happening. Right? You'll get some fringe, you know, benefits and so on like that. But overall, there's going to be a lot of people I would say about 90% who use plant medicines just get either distorted, get messed up more, or the other 10% might say become heal themselves randomly, but that's a big factor. So why aren't we more consistent? XI can make that more consistent for you. Okay, so look out for that. If any of you are interested in that, we'll have some real a better way to do plant medicine journeys properly for you. All right. So emotional intelligence, like I said, managing states after they arise. Frequency intelligence is shifting who you are before they arise. This is where I went through. XI edits the personality. I mean, emotional intelligence, EI, edits the personality. XI literally upgrades your operating system, the program that you are. Okay? EI helps you cope. This reality is all about coping. Any solution, medicine, it's about coping, right? AI, it's about coping. Humans aren't, say, that intelligent anymore. I was talking to a dear friend of mine. They're not that intelligent anymore. So, technology has to cope for it, right? Anything that we do, human-wise, is always about coping. Problem with coping is, well, you render the person that you are helping dumb. You literally help them devolve. Simple. And that's what's happened in today's societies. Governments cope with their people. Technology copes with whatever's out there that helps. And then eventually you get to a point, it's like, shit, these people are useless. And that's what most governments think of or the deep state would probably think of the masses that they've ruined, right? So anyway, so XI upgrades your system. XI helps you transcend. All right. So, and this is where my personal story. So, this is where I was run by emotions like many individuals back in the day. This is where I started to separate again. Remember that point where it's like, shit, I lost everything. And the voice came out. It's like, hey, now that you've lost everything, who are you really? And then I never looked back from that. And that's that realization. I wasn't healing emotions. I was just orbiting. I was just trying to move around it. And so I had to dive back in. And those emotions that say those emotions that many people think help you, they start to become anchors and they literally drag you down, right? So let's take a breath in. Once you start to separate your identity from it, this is once you start to become the observer of your emotions, right? Once you start to become your observer of the emotions that you're running, you'll start to go like, gosh, why do I get angry? And you start to see the mechanics or the frequency behind what leads you to like get angry or what leads you to feel depressed. And you go, oh, that's what it is. And moments literally come up for you. It's like, oh, that's where that emotion started. How many of you have gone through that process, right? Where you start to see how you've, say, redefined your emotions based on the experiences that you've had. All right. So how do we get out of that emotional gravity? One, you detach identity from emotion. Highly important. And we go much, much deeper into it, again, Command Grow Rich and any of the other programs that we do. But you detach your identity from emotion. How many people have gone through, it's like, you know what, I'm always ill. I always don't feel well. I always have to have an issue, right? That's your identity, right? Somebody always has to abuse me. Somebody always has to make me cry. Somebody always has to, I'm always happy. Either way, if you have an identity that's attached to an emotion, it's not good because you can't use that tool for anything else. Okay? This is also where you go, and society teaches you this. It's like, negative emotions, you stay away from positive emotions. Well, the government, people who want to control you, have you ever noticed that they use the negative emotions, not positive emotions, to control you? There's a reason for that because negative emotions are really powerful. They're like the excavating, the huge machinery that like can excavate, tons of earth. The positive emotions are more like shovels, for example. They help you, once it's excavated properly, they help you refine it. So that's what that is. So in XI, we use negative emotions to excavate, get rid of all the baggage, all the burdens, all the distortions of your life patterns. Okay? Like we use anger to go, shit, I am not running that pattern anymore. And it's not about pushing against people or society or they should make more laws, damn it. All that stuff you're fighting outside yourself. No, you take that inwards, you take that war inwards and you go, damn, you know, I am not allowing those family or cultural or societal patterns to control me anymore. And you start to, again, create or separate your identity from your real identity from all that stuff that you've, say, been trained on. Okay. All right. So, two, you see emotions as data, not destiny. Very simple steps, guys. One, detach identity from emotion. This is where you start to see emotions as data, not destiny. It's like, here's another situation where I'll be sad again. No, it's like, how's this situation? How am I running this situation? How am I running it through my old self? And then this is where you start to see data points. Okay? This is where you start to recalibrate your emotions. Everything has to be recalibrated. And, and you go, well, emotions are just natural. Not really. You're born. Look at men. Like, big boys don't cry. Men don't cry. Men holding in. Stoicism. Marcus Aurelius. Again, great teachings. Um, but not say the best. It could be refined. It'll get you to where you want, but it'll burden the hell out of you, right? The daily stoic and all that. Again, great teachings. If you do XI stoic, that'd be a lot more efficient. Again, it'll get you to a certain point, but then just like wealth does, just like religions, it'll get you to a certain point for sure. But then, then you keep hitting the ceiling, and it doesn't feel fulfilled. Right? So, all right. So three, you start to anchor frequency, not feeling. So you start to anchor again the underlying core structure of who you are versus the emotion. And then when you start to do that, any of your feelings, whether it's, for example, most people, the way most people run is they have a certain, say, concept of what a feeling is about. Oh, if I feel this, I'll stay away. If I feel this, I'll be, I'll go forward. But again, it doesn't really matter when you have a program that's running. It's like I want to become the best possible version of who I am each and every moment. Okay, that should be your underlying program. Then, whether you're feeling negative or you're feeling positive, no matter what it is, it's just like you're bouncing and you're bouncing towards that best possible version of yourself. Otherwise, this is where people go in cycles. How many people have gone through that as well, gone through cycles, right? You feel really, good about something, then the next moment you feel bad and you're just cycling like that, right? Because it's not getting you where you want. Okay? The next step four is you train stillness as your new baseline, where you start not to use emotions to guide you, but you stand still. Okay? You are in neutral. You are not prejudiced. It allows at a frequency level, XI level, basically when stillness basically means you have no judgment. When you have no judgment, all possibilities are available to you rather than the blinders that have been dictated to you by life. And we'll go deeper into that. Not here though. So when that happens, you're still. And then when you train yourself for that stillness through hyper meditations, what'll happen for you is that your emotions will guide you into the possibilities, the best possibilities to get you to the next highest potential of who you are. Okay? Really, really important. And step five, Let emotions move through you without letting it move you. Okay. So if you've ever noticed that you get pulled by your emotions, right? And then you find yourself like, shit, how did I get myself here? That's what I'm talking about. When you allow your emotions to run through you, it cleanses the distortions of those emotions as well, and it purifies it. So you don't move, you purify when you allow the emotions to go through you, and it becomes so vibrant, right? Um, Time is it? Okay. So in humans, what we've also done with emotions is that we've decided that the longer we can hold on to an emotion, the more value we have, or the more we loved a person. Okay. So, for example, if you lost somebody, loved one, parents, loved one, whoever, you lost them, and it's like, well, the more I can stay depressed and hold on to that person, then the more that means that they were important to me, the more I love them. Okay? That's not true. It's not true at all. It's just like you're afraid to go to the next level. Okay, in nature, and you can see it in animals. Okay? They feel the emotion. I was watching an elephant or even a lion whose cub got injured, right? And unfortunately, the mother had to kill the cub. Otherwise, it's not going to make it. But in that case, you could see the sadness in the elephant tribe, in the emotion, in the lion, and instead of taking a year, it's processed, and then they move on, and they purify that distortion within themselves, and they move on, and they do what they have to do. And it's a beautiful concept. But think of it. In human societies, what we do is like the longer we can hold on to the pain, okay, the more that value is. Okay? And extreme versions of this, okay, and I know probably mess a lot of people up. Um, um, uh, Hitler. The reason why that, say, that scenario, Hitler, Mandela, and Charlie Kirk, the reason why those things will always get rehashed, okay, is because it puts you in a spin cycle. Okay? Whether you believe it or not, whether you're against it for it, it doesn't really matter. It puts you in a spin cycle. Okay? This is where you've attached pain and burden, and the way it should have been, right? Freedom, um, in the Mandela and Hitler, and soon to be Charlie Kirk. You'll see that it's like freedom. They're fighting for freedom, but then freedom is attached to what? Chaos, abuse, all that. So basically, they're attaching for you to be free, you have to fight just like they did, and that's what's happening. It keeps you stuck. And that's what, by the way, that's what kept me stuck as well. Again, when I was going through the process, guilt from the past, pulling me backwards, right? Fear of the future, right? You get frozen in decision, grief that felt like, say, identity loss. How many have felt that, right? When you're really grieving, but in XI grief, you basically, it's like, damn, you grieve for the version that got you to this point. It's just like a pair of shoes or a tool. It's like it's been good, but now I have to let you go. So it's a different kind of grief. That's an XI grief. Again, it's like, thank you for bringing me up to this point. Now I need to let you go. Whether it's family value structures, person, a tool, whatever it is, right? A concept, an idea, but people hold on to what made them successful. Look at IBM. They almost went bankrupt because they didn't think they could get into the PC market. There was no room for it, right? Because big machines made them successful. All right. All right. So as we wrap up here, We start to command our lives through our emotions. We don't command the emotions, we command who we are. Our emotions, they adapt to it. So command doesn't come from an emotional suppression. Command doesn't come from emotional indulgence. Command comes from coherence. Once you start to align your identity, the deeper version of who you are, the strength of who you are, your emotions, everything starts to stabilize. Everything starts to become coherent. And this is when when your frequency stabilizes, your emotions start to reorganize everything, and everything is like on a system. This is where we go, you know, this is where humans go, God, I don't know why God put pain in our systems. It must be because he's testing us. It must be because he's doing this. It's like, no, like pain is a great identity. This helps you redefine who you really are at a much, much deeper level. It helps you understand why you're created the way you are. Right? It's like learning how to play that guitar, like I talked about earlier on that. My book that will be coming out, Lexicon of Power, basically redefining all those words. Words are basically underlying laws of society. So once you redefine your words, just think what just think what just think what love means to you, right? For most people, it's sacrifice. Right? The more you love somebody, then the more you would have to sacrifice in that case. This is where once you have your identity that's not based on a surface or exterior level, say references, everything, your identity upgrades, the emotional patterns start to dissolve. This is where you start to, your emotions stop hijacking your identity, your timeline. Otherwise, you basically fall into a rut. And if you don't believe me, are you running the same patterns of your parents? Are you running the same patterns of society? Or say you became wealthy, right? Did you do the same things as the other people who became wealthy? The millionaires club, the billionaires club, right? They all run the same diseases. They all run the same issues. The people that I've run into, millionaires club, billionaires club, it's like, yeah, they're really cool. They made a lot of money, but yeah, they're all diseased. They all run the same issues pretty much. So it's like, again, do you fall into the rut? It's like, I want to become a billionaire. Oh, it's like, you have to do this, 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 and this. And again, that's fantastic, but it comes with a lot of burdens. So does not making money either. So it's not like, so again, it's not about making a lot of money or not making money. It's how you make it, how you make the money, who you become when you make the money. Abraham Lincoln said, to test the real man, give him power. You get to see what that man is made out of. This is where you start, this is where you stop reacting to life and start generating it. This is where you become, say, the still point. How many of you have gone through chaos as your life falls apart, and then it builds back up? Obviously, for those who are in that process, it'll build back up. But out of that chaos, do you notice how still you are, right? Neutrality becomes your, say, superpower. This is where everybody is falling apart, not knowing what to do. And then there's that person that goes, who's so complete, and it's like, okay. And they run off, say, logic, not human logic, but higher level logic. And this is where they go, damn, right? I have to do X, Y, and Z. And those are the people that'll get you out of the situations. You can be one of those people. So this is where emotional gravity, it sends you to higher and higher levels. All right. So the concepts that we talk about, you should be walking away with these few concepts. Okay. You didn't do emotional healing wrong. That's just one thing. Again, an XI, people always go, God, I did everything wrong. It's like, you didn't do it wrong. Okay. When I talk about science, I'm not saying they did it wrong. You get to the certain level. It's just uh, in XI, I never say anything is wrong. It's just like we could have done it better. That's all. So basically, again, in emotional healing, just remember that you didn't do anything wrong. You just hit the ceiling with the tools that you're using. Simple. Okay. 2, emotions are meant to pass. They're not to define you. And if somebody that is a fast typer, comment in, it'd be great for those individuals. So emotions are meant to pass, not define you. If you don't remember anything out of this talk, just remember that. And ask yourself, it's like, where in the past have my emotions defined me? Right? And you'll see what I mean. Right? I think just saying that, a lot of people go, oh, damn. Frequency mastery makes emotional mastery effortless. Once you elevate your frequency, your XIQ, not your IQ, not your EQ, not your money, whatever it is, but your XIQ, how close you are to the purpose of why you were here. Okay. Once you master that, your emotions come into resonance. And it's not, you don't master yourself, you don't master your emotions, like control them. What happens is your emotions are, say, refined to accelerate you to your best version of who you are. Right? That's the kind of mastery I'm talking about. Again, it's not about control. You rise not by feeling more, but by feeling from a higher frequency. This is where somebody dies and you feel the pain so purely that it becomes a euphoric experience. It's crazy how that feels. It's like, oh my God, this is what pain feels like. Okay. And then it's so pure and it's so clean that it cleanses you of the distortions. It cleanses that person of that distortion, even if they're dead. Cleanses them. It becomes a euphoric space around you, and then you just move on and you go, wow, that was amazing. But you don't need more of it to ascend to a higher level. Okay? Calm command is not an emotion, it's a frequency baseline. Remember that. Okay? Stoicism, it's basically shutting down your emotions. That's not what I'm talking about. This is where your emotions, right? You have mastered the emotions that they're just ready for you. If you need it, if you need anger, anger will come in. It'll accelerate you to where you need to go. It won't destroy you. It'll accelerate where you need to go. Fear will be your best ally. Death will be your best ally, because if you understand, say, death, life becomes more meaningful for you. Right? So that's the level of, say, emotional intelligence that I'm talking about. And to do that, you raise your XIQ, which we'll be doing in Command Grow Rich. All right, guys, remember to subscribe and like this channel. Oh, perfect. Let's comment in if you've got any questions. We'll read you on, say, how emotions have, say, distorted you. Okay, we'll take about 10 minutes. Frequencies are powerful today. Thank you. What is the next frequency spa? That is tomorrow night, but tomorrow night, 9:30 Central. Guys, frequency spas, if you're new, it's really one of the best ways to help you age properly. There's stem cells and so on like that. But like I said, if your programming is running like your programming is like, hey, I'm 50 years old, and you do stem cells. Yeah, you're still 50 years old, but the way we do it is the way we do it. and it's research and it's worked a lot. It works very well for a lot of people. It's like, hey, instead of being 50, you don't have to run societies or your parents' patterns. Why not reset your timing to say 40 or 35? And now you're running a frequency of a 35-year-old, and you not only look better, younger, and stem cells or whatever that you do will last longer, but your vibrancy is of a younger person. Your blood tests, everything starts to become of a younger person. That's how powerful the frequency spas are. Okay. All right. Is there a live? All right. So there's somebody new here. Sorry, guys. The art of fulfillment. I really love it. Scan, please. Yeah. So Serena. Yeah. Um, so the art of fulfillment is if you're always looking outside of yourself, like you are at times, but now you're getting better and better. If you've started to notice that in the past, Serena, from what I'm seeing, is like you're always like, oh, I need to reach out for that person to say, fulfill me, make me complete. It doesn't work out, guys. It just does that doesn't work out for anybody. Okay. Over time, you'll start that you'll never feel complete. Again, whether it's religion, whether it's your concept of God or whatever it is, it's like, I need to reach out. No. So now what you're doing, Serena, is that you're actually like pulling yourself back. You're pulling yourself back, and this is where you're feeling more content with yourself. It's like, yeah, you know what? I don't need all that to feel complete in here. Doesn't mean that you don't do all that, but you're complete. And then when you do all that, you're a lot better for it. So nice job. Okay. What I was doing was helping you become more internally, say, focused. So congratulations. Um, this is Regina Longo. Would love a scan as I did edit timeline 10 days ago. I think I'm ready for the first level of Command Grow Rich. Yeah, you actually are. Regina, you kind of feel kind of like unstable right now, okay, which is a good, okay? Instability. When I say that in XI, that's fantastic. It just means that, the crutches that stabilized you, right? The distortions that stabilized you, the pain or diseases that stabilized you. For you, Regina, I think it's kind of like pain or some kind of medical issues or whatever, from what I'm saying. That's not part of your identity anymore. So now what you can do, so you feel a little unstable, but you've elevated yourself to a new level. Basically, it's like getting a promotion. You did really well in sales. They promoted you to, say, sales manager, right? But you've never managed people, right? You're a great salesman, but now you feel unstable, although you're at a higher level. So that's where I see you. So that's a nice job. This one's Sarah. Sarah, hi. Could you please scan me? I just got diagnosed with cervical cancer. So sorry to hear that, hon. I'm not a doctor. I don't claim to be a doctor. I don't claim to heal anybody, but a lot of people have, say, successfully healed themselves. The key word is I help you awaken like nobody else can, not even Western medicine, to your natural healing abilities. And this is where people go through whatever that they go through, or sometimes the cancer just disappears. In your case, Sarah, what I see is that there's a lot of anxiety in your growing area. No matter what you've done, your identity is based on in the growing area. It's like you literally have shrunk it down. Like I see your mom yelling at you, or somebody yelling at you, somebody feminine. It could be your father, which is even more distorting for you. And you basically, people yell at you. I just see people yelling at you, and what do? You're this adult is looking at you and yelling at you, that kind of feel, or dominating you, or feeling submissive, whatever it is, that kind of feel. Okay. And you basically shrink it down. Okay. So your body can't shrink down, but your presence shrinks down, compresses. Okay. And then that's stuck in your groin area. So if you remove that, the possibility of you healing yourself from cancer will elevate. Otherwise, this is where people Again, they might heal and then they get another cancer, or it takes them a long time to heal and all that. But if you start to remove that identity or that pattern, Sarah, this is where you also have buried um, uh, your your potential of who you are as well, because you never feel good enough, right, to show your potential. So it's like, I'll just bury it, and just, the possibilities of who you could have been basically are buried in there as well. Okay, once you release that, hon, and I think you might be actually be feeling something now. So comment in, Sarah, if you are. Then you become free. This is where you go, you know what? I just don't need that destination cancer anymore. And again, a lot of people have healed themselves from a lot. I can't guarantee anything. I'm not a doctor, but neither should anybody else, Western medicine included, because they really don't heal. They're more like duct tape. So, uh, Jackie, scan on my progress, please. I'm starting a new job. Okay, yeah, this is really fantastic for you, Jackie. And have you noticed that many people go, I need a new job, or I need a new, relationship, but and then they go get a new job or new relationship, and then the same thing starts over again. So what you've done with XI is really fantastic, is that you've cleaned yourself up, and now it's like you get a new job because the new version of you demands that you get a new job. Okay, so that's why you're doing it. It becomes a new identity of who you are, not say a replacement for you. So really beautiful. Um, Gold yellow, I'm sorry, please scan my brain and health now. Uh, well, you're getting more of your sustenance back from what I'm seeing. You're getting your identity back. It's almost like you've lived life kind of on neutral. You've always been told what to do, for example, or people basically tell you what to do. And it's not people, basically, it's you. Or you might be the opposite. It's like somebody tells you something and you do the opposite, but it's the same thing. Okay? It's the same pattern. So in that case, what you're doing is like you're reclaiming yourself. So your brain is literally activating now. Again, a lot of people, no offense, they really don't use your brain. Or what you do is like you basically live outside of this reality. So because you kind of hover. So in this case, you're coming back into your body, and this is where you're not just noticing your brain, but you're noticing your body as well. I would highly recommend eating eating non-GMO foods, especially the sugars for you. Okay. And then also cholesterol or fats or something, to that effect, not sugars for you. Um, Line 1989, having trouble with boundaries, would love a scan. Well, sure. You've never had boundaries in the past. People would just like blend in and out of you. But see, that's a problem. With XI, you've always had that problem. Okay. You've always had that problem. But now you're starting to realize that you have that problem. Okay. With XI, just note that. Right. You start to separate. So that's a really good, it's a really good place to be. You're actually starting to see, it's like, shit, I don't have any boundaries. This is where you start to replace your boundaries, not by putting rule sets or anything like that. Not by telling people, hey, you need to stay out of my space. What you need to do, and this is what I'm helping you with, what you need to do is literally start to go, oh, what is it in me that's allowing them just to come into my space? Right? Or if you don't have boundaries going forward, like, why do I keep doing that? Okay. And then what frequency is it in me? And then once you start to go, oh, that's why. Oh, that's why. I see back in the day, say like 1, 2, 3, 4, 3 or 4 years old from what I'm seeing, sensing your mother basically pushed all her burdens onto you, from what I'm saying, a feminine frequency. So there's no boundaries of you. At 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, your parents are supposed to create boundaries of who that little kid is, not boundaries of who they think that little kid is. So that's where the distortion comes from for you. Okay. So basically, you're always thinking on how other people would see you in that case. So again, not just reading you, but just helping you understand where that comes from. And this is where you go, oh, I need to fix this. I need to fix this. I need to fix this. And then this is where people will just honor you. Okay. Someone that can manipulate time. Someone that can manipulate time and dimensions is an instrument of God's work for healing. So a healer. Oh, thank you. Yeah, exactly. That's a true healer, right? Somebody that can say manipulate, or basically what he's saying is like, you're rendering your body here, say of cancer. There's another version of you in another dimension of time over there. God gave you all the possibilities, for example, on how you can render yourself. Okay. And this is where people go, why did God give me cancer? Why does God create wars? Like Joe Rogan goes, it's not. It's just that God gave you all the possibilities. You just chose that. And it's like, well, why does God give you those negative possibilities? Because this reality dictates, light and dark. It's duality here. So all possibilities have to exist. Simple. And you wanted free will. So it's like, okay. So and then I'm sure God is up. If God was the God that religions think, they'd look and it's like, what the. Like I gave them that, they chose that. What? So I don't know. Drives me nuts too. Anyway. This one, the best match. Also, can I please get a scan on my progress? I see I'm going to move to another country soon. Yep, absolutely. Again, you're not doing it to escape this time because this is your escape pattern, right? You've moved, got quite a bit actually. So in the past, if you've moved to escape, and the same pattern starts over again. If that's been your pattern, in this case, XI uses, well, shit, that's a great pattern to restart. So in this case, you delete the escape mechanism and you go, oh, I am moving to find myself this time. Simple. Yeah. And you'll do fine. All right, guys. One more. RAM 22 MOS would love a scan for my progress. Yeah, so you are, you actually have an identity. In the past, it's always like you were waiting. It's like, when is it my turn? When is it my turn? When can I show who I am? When can I be who I am? Right? In that scenario. So now it's like, damn, I'm starting to find out who I am. So take it easy because this should have happened to you by the time you're 7, unfortunately, right? To have that identity. So this is where things will come into you, and this is where you need to choose. It's like you'll have ways of becoming your old identity and then ways of becoming your new identity. Obviously, always choose the new identity. Okay. No matter if it feels uncomfortable, always choose, is this taking me towards my old self, or replenishing my old self, or is this a new version of me that's coming in? Again, always choose the new version for you. All right, guys. All right, guys, we can go on and on. Thank you so much, guys. Join me for Command Grow Rich. Join me for the Frequency Spa. We also have a 10-day coming up. It's called Oneness. This is where it gets into the spiritual factor, especially as we move into Christmas and Hanukkah and all those celebrations. For whatever reason that we do it, we'll go to the underlying reason. So we'll cover Buddhism, Judaism, Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, Taoism, and again, get to say the truth of those, say, concepts. I don't want to call them religions, more concepts, so that's where we want to go. So it's going to be really, really powerful. And this is what the world really needs. It's just like, everybody's trying to separate themselves, going, hey, we're better than everybody else because of X. And you go, well, you're no better. You have the same diseases, you age the same way, you have the same problems. Why are you any better, right? Let's get back to the real reason. Let's go back to the core of what, say, those concepts were about. And then you say improve yourself, you're healthier, you're wealthier in the proper way. Then you can go, yeah, that's where we should be. And we become, again, one, right? If you become one internally, the world becomes one. Okay? All right, guys, as always, notice what you notice the details, guys. Subscribe and like this channel, all right? And send it on to your friends. Do a social media post. Go, hey, I just listened to Masati on Sunday. It's fantastic, and then link it to this if you can. Thank you so much, guys. Peace.